Hello everyone and thank you for joining me. I'm kind of excited for the fountain pen that I will be using today. Another fountain pen from Pilot that unfortunately is no longer in production but can still be found on auction sites like eBay. I managed to purchase this specific copy sometimes last year during summertime, but so far did not had a chance to use it yet. From what I remember, for this Pilot Volex, I paid around 36 Canadian dollars plus shipping. Unfortunately, when I received the pen, I realized that it wasn't as described, and a few things were not mentioned on the fountain pen, like a squash barrel, for example. There was a mention for a little bit of a dent, but no mention of actually being an oval, not a rounded barrel anymore. And this brings me a little bit in a rant, maybe, and I apologize for it. More like a question, I guess. Is it me or sellers from Japan on eBay are a little bit dishonest than most of other sellers from other countries? From all my dealings on eBay, 50% of the times something went wrong or something was hidden and not mentioned with the items that came from Japan. And my return for items that are coming from Japan are much higher than from any other country. Anyway, in the end, I decided to keep the fountain pen because I wanted to fix it. And I guess I felt a little bit sorry and I wanted to adopt it and save it somehow. So I welcome the challenge, but honestly, this was literally the last draw for me. And it's kind of the last item I bought from Japan, and I'm trying to avoid it as much as possible for now. Well, I'm still in hiatus anyway, so I'm not buying anything, but still. With that rant aside, let me go quickly through the fountain pen. If you're familiar with Pilot Elite fountain pens lineup, this fountain pen is pretty much very similar with that fountain pen, that beautiful classic Japanese pocket fountain pen. And in case you've never seen this type of fountain pens, usually the cap is longer than the barrel and the section. It's pretty much 3/4 of the pen just cap. Construction of this specific Volex fountain pen is, as far as I know, stainless steel. And it has a very nice slick cap, and as you see, we do have the Pilot brand on the clip. Now, I don't know if the fountain pen that I have has another defect. Usually this clip, it's a little bit of it's like a hinge basically, so it has a little bit of a spring. This one, however, doesn't seem to move from the hinge. It seems like just the bar, it's sort of a flexing. As such, I don't know if my copy is damaged or that's how they're built. If you have this pen, please let me know in the comments below if it's something wrong with my specific copy. And since we are at the clip, doing a quick shirt test with it, even as is, seems to work just fine. Holds on the cloth pretty well, but slides very nicely. This is what you see out of the pocket. And it comes out of the shirt, very nice. It grabs nicely on the cloth, but nothing to damage it. No actual finials. The cap and the barrel has this brushed like effect. However, the ends of the barrel and the cap, they seems to be high polished just as the clip. I really like the two black bands that are on the pen, and those are actual grooves. You can actually feel them if you touch them, and just black paint inside of it. And the cap is pull push type. Works actually very nice on this fountain pen, nothing to complain about. And when you remove it, it will reveal a pretty lengthy section with a stainless steel nib as far as I know. And I actually really like the shape of this nib. Somehow reminds me of the Pilot not Pilot, sorry, Platinum Cool fountain pen has a very similar nib style. On the nib we have the Pilot brand, the size of it, which in my case it's fine. I'm not sure what that is, but seems to be like some sort of a stamp. And then on mine it says K5117. I assume this has to do with where the fountain pen was built and in what year. I'm not very knowledgeable about the history of this type of fountain pen, so if you know better, please do correct me in the descriptions below. Thank you. Unlike the other fountain pens on this style from Pilot, it has a very interesting color around the nib, which I actually kind of like. When I purchased it, mine was pretty much caked in black and blue ink. Believe it or not, it took me days in trying to clean that, soaking it, and in the ultrasonic as well, and it just took forever. However, I managed to clean it up very nicely. I still have a few spots that they didn't want to come out, but I'm okay with them for now. And going back up on the barrel was a little bit scratched up, but I did a little bit of polishing on it and it turned out pretty good. Sorry, the section, not the barrel. And the barrel, as was indicated in the description of the ad, basically it had a small dent, which I was okay with it. However, when I received it and I removed the barrel, I felt that it was a little bit tight around the collar for the section, or the threads for the section, and I realized that this was actually oval. So it was even more bent inwards than this. I worked a little bit on it. I almost made it round, but that plastic started to feel a little bit weird and I did not want to push it. I did not want to break that. Otherwise, it would have literally made the barrel completely useless on this fountain pen. When I bought the pen, it also did not come with a converter. However, I did add this Con 40 that everyone loves as far as I know. No, not really. No, a lot of people actually hate this. Again, I'll be honest, I don't see the reason for hitting this converter, considering the size of the pen and what you get in there. I actually like it, but maybe I'm a weirdo that way. Anyway, it is what it is. Bottom line, I like this converter. Nothing wrong with it. It works beautifully. It can be filled with the syringe. And I won't show exactly how to fill this one, but I do have a video. I believe it was with a Monami. I'll make a shorts out of that part and I'll link it so you can follow the same steps and get the most out of this converter by filling it with a syringe if that works for you best. If not, obviously use cartridges, refill them, if that makes you any happier. Oh, things that I forgot to do. I guess looking quickly inside the cap, in my pen specifically, there's a little bit of rust. I tried to get rid of it, and especially using the ultrasonic, I did get rid of most of it, and it's definitely looking much better than it was before, but obviously I was not able to do to clean it up properly completely. That makes me wonder that maybe this clip is stuck. Again, if you have this pen and you know better, please let me know. If it's stuck, I will try to work more on it and maybe make it work. Otherwise, I'll just leave it as is. I don't want to break it. And going back to the barrel, again, barrel is pretty short. Not a lot of things going on in there. I guess the only questionable thing will be that it has a plastic insert with threads that goes around the collar. That, as far as I know, it's metal, so you basically have plastic on metal threads. However, considering that I'm not the first user for this fountain pen, and who knows how many other persons had this pen before me, it looks like over the years it survived pretty well, and I don't see any basically any way that the threads chewed on that plastic, and seems to work pretty well. In hand, the fountain pen, since it's a pocket size fountain pen, might not be for everybody, might be on the small size if you don't post it. For quick notes, as I've demonstrated with the other ones in the past that I've been reviewing so far, I can actually make it work since I'm usually using it as an extension or my pointing finger, and I can make it work. Another way to do it is just tuck it under your finger and just work like that, especially if you draw. But obviously this fountain pen was not designed to be used unposted. However, if you do use it like that, the balance of the pen is pretty much right on the band for the barrel. However, like I mentioned, this pen does post, and that's how it's meant to be used, and it posts beautifully and securely, even with that rounded barrel that I have in there. And the balance in hand, it's beautiful. I really like the feeling of these fountain pens, as I mentioned a lot of times before. And this makes it a perfect fountain pen for artists, I would say, especially if you do sketches on the round, because it's just perfect length and you have a lot of hand positions. Nothing really bothers me when I'm using it. And balance of the pen is actually really nice, pretty much in the middle of the pen, and take in consideration that the cap and the barrel are metal, and somehow this pen still balances really nice. I don't find it top heavy. I think it's perfect. The weight of the pen actually almost rests entirely on my ball finger, and if you keep it here, it's just as comfortable, at least for my hands. If you have smaller hands, I still don't see it as an issue, but if you do have smaller hands, then you most probably can use it unposted anyway. So yeah, this is the fountain pen in the end. I'm loving it, just pretty much like any other pocket fountain pen that came from Japan, and it's this style. So let me go and do a writing sample after I ink it. Again, I would link to a shorts video on how to fill a converter with an ink syringe and get the most out of it during my writing session. I'm going for a quick writing sample with the Pilot Volex, which, by the way, it's also called brother of Mew fountain pen. Before going into the writing sample, today I'm actually using the Banmi Blue Black, the other Chinese ink that I have from Banmi. So basically I have the blue black. This is the actual blue black. I used the blue in the past, and that's the difference between them. And I also have the black. Both of them are permanent ink. Oh, and there is one more. I'm not sure if I'll ever get to use it, but it's the red permanent ink. I might be just crazy enough to use it one time for a drawing just to see that color. I'm curious if it shades or not. But anyway, this is the one that I'm using for today, which is the Banmi Blue Black permanent ink. I will try and use it unposted for a little bit. So this is Pilot Volex fountain pen. I always find it annoying when I write with a mic in front of me. The nib actually is really good. I did not do any work on this nib other than cleaning it from ink. And it's a nice fine line. I love it. Reverse seems to be a little bit scratchy, but works. So if I'll have any small details, it's a nice extra fine line, which I like. And if you slow down enough, The ink flow, it's pretty good, nothing wrong with it. But if you're too quick, it dries out. But still keeps up, interesting. Alright. Alright, so the nib, it's actually pretty nice. I like it. It's pretty much, it feels like it was built for drawing. That's exactly how it's feeling. So I hope I won't I won't disappoint, and I will be able to get a really nice sketch with this one today. Problem is, I really want to do a nice sketch with this one now, and I might be too nervous and I might screw up. I love that fine line. This nib is definitely made for sketching. All right. So all of a sudden I have no regrets on that battle. So yeah, let me jump into a sketch. Cross your fingers. Hopefully I'll get something nice, and I'll let you know what I think of this fountain pen. Fun fact on the drawing for today. No idea why, but my hand was shaking a little here and there, and I got unintentional squiggy lines. Quite funny in a way, frustrating in another. I did have fun though, until I decided to use alcohol markers. I had an odd feeling about the ink, and fortunately I decided to test first on a scrap piece of paper, as you will see for a second or two in the time lapse. Happy I did that. It looks like this ink smudges when you use markers on top of it, which kind of sucks. Not sure what kind of permanent ink this is. I guess I will reserve it for writing, just like the other blue that I have from this brand. Speaking of the blue, since I was not able to use the markers and finish it the way I was planning, I decided to bring back the Titana fountain pen as well and finish the drawing that way. It did not turn out how I wanted, but I think it's okay. I will come back with a similar idea so I can have something closer to what I wanted to do. But maybe I will use a different theme. Or same theme but different setup. I don't know, we'll see. With the drawing and ink aside, I have to say I really like the fountain pen, to the point that I plan to get another one even if I have to buy from Japan again once my hiatus is done. What do I like about the Pilot Volex? I love the nib, period. That is what I like the most on this fountain pen. I don't know if this nib was worked on previously by, well, the previous owners, so I don't know if all are like that, but this one, as is perfect for me. As for the rest, pretty much everything that I love about this type of pocket fountain pens are here as well. Good weight, great balance, and quite portable. Chances are quite high that if you have a Pilot Elite, you will like this fountain pen as well, even though it might be a little bit heavier due to the metal cap and barrel. The only part where the jury will be out to debate about this fountain pen is the nib that it comes with, if all are the same or not. But at least on my copy the nib is quite good, smooth, ink is laying down nicely, and no real complaint about it. It even flexes just a tiny bit, something that I forgot to show in the writing sample, enough to give you a little bit of line variation in the drawings. What I don't like about it. I guess for a fountain pen that can only be found on the second hand market, the biggest issue that we might have is finding a perfect copy at a good price, and as it was my case, the honesty of the seller to reveal everything that was wrong about the copy. That will be my most major complaint, but I guess such is life. What you might not like about this fountain pen? Well, I guess if a Pilot Elite is not really working out for you, then chances are that this one is not really up your alley either. And I guess the last thing that I have is the fact that it's discontinued. Would be nice if they bring it back as a non-gold nib version next to the Elite. At a cheaper price, obviously. I'd be all over that, to be honest. In the end, even with all the mishaps, I still love this fountain pen. It's pretty neat, well designed, and well, overall super nice in my opinion. I'll be keeping my eyes open for a new battle if I can, once my hiatus is all done. Unless you might have a spare somewhere and you are willing to let it go? Anyway, today was another fun drawing with a fun fountain pen that I definitely recommend if you are into this type of fountain pens. Just shop around and make sure what you get is what you wanted. And if you have any other questions, please leave a comment below and I will try and get to it as soon as I can. Thank you for joining me today and I wish you all the best and a wonderful day or night, wherever you are. Take care. Bye.